I'm 78 years old, and I'm sitting in a house that's too big for one person. My wife left me 6 years ago, not because she stopped loving me, because I taught her how. My daughter calls maybe twice a year. My son and I don't speak at all. And the career I built, the one I gave everything to, retired me at 62 and forgot my name by 63. I spent 40 years chasing success. I got it, and then I came home one day and realized I had no one to tell. When I was 32, I got a promotion, regional manager, big title, bigger salary. I remember sitting in the HR office signing the paperwork, thinking I'd finally made it. My wife was pregnant with our second child. I thought I was doing the right thing, providing, building something. The job required travel, a lot of it, 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. I told myself it was temporary, that once I climbed a little higher, I'd have more control, more flexibility. I believed that. I missed my son's birth because I was in a conference in Atlanta. I got the call during a lunch meeting. I excused myself, called the hospital, and told my wife I'd be there as soon as I could. I wasn't. I got there 2 days later. She said she understood, but something in her eyes changed that week. I didn't notice it then. The thing about slow loss is that you don't see it happening. It's not dramatic. There's no moment where you suddenly realize you're losing your family. It just becomes normal. You miss a recital and promise you'll make the next one. You take a call during dinner because it's important. You work late and come home after the kids are asleep because you're building a future for them. That's what I told myself. I was doing this for them. By the time I was 40, I was senior vice president, corner office, executive parking. My son was 8. My daughter was 5. I knew their ages because my wife reminded me before their birthdays. I didn't know their friends' names. I didn't know what they liked for breakfast. I didn't know my daughter was afraid of thunderstorms until my wife mentioned it in passing one night. I said I'd spend more time with them. I meant it every time I said it. But there was always one more deal, one more trip, one more quarter that needed my attention. And my wife stopped asking. That should have terrified me. It didn't. I felt relieved. When my daughter was 12, she had a part in the school play. My wife told me about it 3 weeks in advance. I put it in my calendar. I promised I'd be there. The day before, my boss asked me to fly to Chicago. Client emergency. I called my wife and explained. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, okay. That was all. Just okay. I missed the play. I closed the deal. I got a bonus that year. My daughter didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. When she finally did, she didn't mention the play. We never talked about it. And I told myself she'd forgiven me. But what actually happened was she stopped expecting me to show up. That's worse. I didn't know that then. My son tried for a while longer. He'd asked me to throw the ball around, to come to his games, to help him with his homework. I always said yes. I rarely followed through. By the time he was 15, he stopped asking. I thought it meant he was growing up, becoming independent. It meant he'd given up on me. My wife and I stopped talking about anything real sometime in my mid-40s. We'd discuss logistics, schedules, bills, who was picking up what. But we didn't talk about us. I don't remember when that started. It just became the way we were. I thought we were fine. We didn't fight much. She managed the house. I brought home the money. I thought that was marriage. When I turned 50, the company made me executive VP. Another promotion, another raise. I was at the top. I'd done it. My wife threw me a party. She invited people from work, neighbors, a few old friends. My kids were there, both in college by then. They stayed for an hour and left. I gave a speech that night, thanked everyone, thanked my wife for her support, thanked my kids for their patience. Everyone clapped. I felt proud. My wife went upstairs right after. I stayed down and drank with colleagues until midnight. When I came to bed, she was awake. She asked me if I was happy. I said, of course. Why wouldn't I be? She didn't say anything else. She just turned over and faced the wall. I didn't think about that conversation again for 8 years. At 58, I had a health scare. Nothing major. High blood pressure, some chest pain. The doctor told me to slow down. I didn't. I had 3 more years until retirement. I wasn't going to coast at the finish line. My wife asked me to take a vacation with her, just the 2 of us. I said I would, after I wrapped up a project. The project took 14 months. By the time it was done, she stopped asking. I retired at 62, with a pension, a plaque, and a dinner where people said nice things about me. I shook hands, took photos, went home, and for the first time in 30 years, I had nowhere to be the next morning. I thought my wife and I would finally have time together. I thought I'd get to know my kids as adults. I thought we'd travel, do things we'd put off. But there was nothing to put off, because we'd never planned anything. We didn't have shared interests. We didn't talk. We were strangers who'd lived in the same house for 35 years. My daughter was married by then. She didn't ask me to walk her down the aisle. She told me I could, but I could tell it was out of obligation. I did it. I smiled in the pictures, but I barely knew the man she married. I didn't know how they met. I didn't know what she did for work. Not really. My son didn't invite me to his wedding. I found out about it on Facebook. That hurt. I won't pretend it didn't. At 72, my wife told me she wanted a divorce. We were eating breakfast. She said it calmly, like she'd been thinking about it for years. She probably had. I asked her why. She looked at me like I'd asked her why the sky was blue. She said, because you were never here, and I'm tired of living alone. I tried to argue, told her I'd provided everything, a home, security, a good life. She said, you gave me everything except yourself. The divorce was quiet. We split things fairly. She took the books, some furniture, and the photo albums. I got the house and most of the money. She moved 2 hours away to be closer to our daughter. I haven't seen her since. I'm 78 now. I've been alone in this house for 6 years. I have money. I have a paid-off mortgage. I have a pension that's more than enough. And I have no one to share dinner with. My daughter and I speak maybe twice a year. Calls are brief. She's polite. She has her own life, her own family. I'm not part of it. I don't blame her. My son and I don't talk at all. I've reached out. He doesn't respond. I think he's angrier than my daughter. Or maybe he just cares less. I don't know which is worse. I spent 40 years building a career that no one remembers. The company's been bought and sold twice since I left. My name's not on anything. The people I worked with have moved on or retired or died. And my family moved on without me. If you're young and you're working hard and you're telling yourself it's for your family, I need you to hear this. They don't want your money as much as you think they do. They want you, your time, your attention, your presence. And time doesn't wait. It doesn't pause. You don't get it back. I told myself for decades that I'd make up for it later, that once I hit a certain level, I'd have balance. But there was no finish line. There was just the next thing, and the next, until I ran out of time. My wife is 76 now. She lives near our daughter. I heard she has a garden, that she volunteers at the library, that she's happier.
I'm glad, I really am. But I think about what we could have had if I had just been there, if I had chosen her, chosen them. I can't fix it now. It's too late. They've built lives without me, and that's what I earned. I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me. I made my choices. I lived with the consequences. I'm telling you because maybe you still have time. Maybe your kids are still young. Maybe your partner still asks you to come to bed instead of working late. Maybe you still get invitations. Don't assume they'll keep asking forever. They won't.